bunk room in the rear of the flight deck where the off-duty pilots can sleep. Some call this activity dozing for dollars. At many airlines, pilot compensation increases with the size of the airplane flown. Consequently, the 747 traditionally attracts the most senior, most experienced crews. Some veteran captains with well-established international carriers can earn upwards of $250,000 annually. But compensation notwithstanding, the big Boeing would still draw eager pilots, because despite its stupendous bulk, it is a surprisingly nimble and forgiving airplane. Pilots simply love to fly it.
I've been very fortunate. I've flown all models of the 747, and I've been flying 747 since 1982. The 747-400 is certainly the best of the aircraft I've flown. It flies faster than any other commercial aircraft other than Concorde. It has a lot of fail-safe and backup systems. It's certainly probably the most reliable aircraft in the world that we have nowadays. But when I was told I was going to go on the 747-400, it was the absolutely greatest thing that had happened to me, and I've certainly enjoyed every moment of it ever since.
Because of the 747's size and the high number of passengers it was to carry, Boeing insisted that the Superjet be super safe. Throughout, systems redundancies run deep. Joe Sutter.
When we were asked to design such a large airplane, Boeing and everybody was concerned about the impact of an accident for that airplane. So safety was really foremost on our mind. We designed for redundancy and a strong structure. For instance, the wing has 3 spars in it. The only airplane I know with 3 wing spars. All of the systems are quadruple. 4 hydraulic systems, 4 generation systems. The landing gear has 4 legs to it. The only airplane with 4 legs to the landing gear. One of the reasons is the airplane could come home and make a safe landing even if one landing gear was torn off or would not come down.
Redundancy included doubling up on the moving surfaces designed to control the giant in the air. The rudder, elevators, and ailerons were split, so if one failed, there would always be a backup. Sutter's team also fitted the aircraft with triple-slotted flaps and leading-edge devices. With those, the 747, then and still the fastest subsonic jetliner, became a model of good behavior at slow speeds as well. The 747's superb handling at low speeds results from a combination of things, including its triple-slotted flaps, leading-edge slats, and its bulk. John Cashman is Boeing's chief test pilot.
The larger the size of the aircraft, the more stable it is in turbulence. It doesn't divert from its flight path other than by direct flight control input from the pilot. So when you set it on a path, it tends to stay there. And it makes it easy to fly because of that.
And to further ensure aircraft safety, the pilots undergo training sessions in cockpit simulators every year. The training extends to the cabin crew as well. Regulations say a downed airliner has to be cleared of passengers within 90 seconds. Not an easy task. Matthew Hudson is an in-flight supervisor with Virgin Atlantic.
I head that up. I've evacuated a jumbo once, and you have to be prepared for that every time you fly. Hey, I was only a junior flight attendant at the time, but it's such a good feeling afterwards, having evacuated the jumbo, knowing that you can do it.
That's true. But even despite all that, occasionally accidents do occur. To help determine what went wrong, there's a microphone in the overhead instrument panel that picks up the pilot's conversations and radio transmissions for storage in an audio recorder in the tail. Similarly, there's a device that continuously monitors and records the performance of the airplane and its subsystems. These recorders are commonly known as black boxes.
The airplane, after 30 years, is one of the safest airplanes flying.
For most passengers, flight safety has long been presumed, and their foremost concern en route is the matter of personal comfort. With the arrival of the big cabin 747, airlines had the opportunity to improve things for the folks in the cabin. And so on early 747 flights, welcome amenities included lavish food services in first class and choices of entrees and coach. There were hot towels and first-run movies. Suddenly, flying long distances became tolerable, even a pleasant diversion. At many airlines, the tradition continues. For example, Virgin Atlantic 747 upper-class passengers can have manicures in flight, back and neck rubs as well. The airplane is so big, they've even installed a stand-up bar and lounge. And as upper-class passengers can attest, the tradition of four-star dining continues, complete with china on white linen and choices of entrees, wines, and desserts, each one more sumptuous than the other. The latest 747s are equipped with passenger conveniences and entertainments unimagined when the aircraft was first conceived. Moving maps let passengers watch their flight's progress. Video games keep kids amused. Lynn Flint.
And in the passenger cabin, we've gone from piano bars and decks of cards to in-seat, in-flight entertainment, where you can choose which movie you want to watch, make a phone call, send a fax, or even plug your PC in.
Virgin Atlantic's David Tate.
We have a choice of up to 16 movies on most of our aircraft. We also have Nintendo games, interactive games, so if you're traveling with young kids, you basically just plug them in and forget about them for 6 or 7 hours. I tell you, it's the greatest way to fly with children.
The Jumbo's arrival probably had more impact on the cabin crew than on the pilots. While a handful of close-knit flight attendants could service a 707, up to 20 were needed on the 747. Suddenly, they had to provide hot meals for more than 400 at one sitting, a challenge for even the largest restaurants. Fortunately, the 747's wide center galleys and twin aisles made this feat of culinary magic routine. While passengers liked the cabin's broad dimensions, the seating area was so big and pathways so numerous that the 747 created a new phenomenon: children lost in flight. The little ones would wander away from their seats, and without any street signs available, they'd become utterly disoriented. "Would Mr. So-and-so please come to the coach galley and claim your son?" became a signature announcement over the 747's public address system. The sheer volume of passengers brought other new concerns to the cabin staff. For example, sales of drinks, duty-free goods, and headset rentals generated considerable sums of cash in a variety of currencies. The money had to be safeguarded, and the large inventory accounted for daily. Flight attendants are no less subject to fatigue than the pilots on the extra-long flights, and now Boeing has devised a refuge for them as well. It's called the attic, a place of quiet solitude for flight attendants like Carrie Noonan.
It's upstairs towards the rear of the aircraft. When we're on long flights, we do occasionally get a break, and we have a few bunk beds up there, which are usually very cozy. It's a race to get the best one though, the darkest one.
All of this activity and inactivity occurs while the aircraft is cruising at 560 miles per hour, some 7 miles above the Earth. Outside, the air is too thin to breathe, and the temperature is minus 54 degrees Celsius or minus 65 degrees Fahrenheit. Yet inside, the cabin is warm and comfortable. Separating these two radically different environments is a skin of tempered aluminum just a 1/16 of an inch thick. Lynn Flint.
We keep people comfortable in the passenger cabin by insulating the structure and by taking bleed air off the engines, putting it through the air conditioning units, and then either heating it or cooling it to the right temperature, ducting it through the passenger cabin and exhausting it through the outflow valve. This provides a fresh air change every 3 minutes.
Before beginning their letdown from cruise altitude of 35,000 feet, the pilots review approach procedures as well as the airport chart detailing the maze of taxiways they will follow to their gate. Once cleared by air traffic control, the captain retards the throttles and the 747 begins to descend. The pilot deploys the speed brakes to accelerate the descent. The flight deck is a busy place as the pilot sets up for the approach. There are speed adjustments, course changes, radio handoffs. To slow for landing, the co-pilot extends the huge set of triple-slotted flats. Then he lowers the 18-wheeled landing gear. The passengers hear the gear as it extends and locks in place.